About a month ago, I made a video showing my first 5 days learning modular synthesis with VCV Rack. And now that it's been about 30 days, I wanted to do an update video, talk about what I've learned so far, how I'm teaching myself VCV Rack, and what my plans are to improve my skills now that I've got the basics kind of figured out. My name's Darlene. I make mostly electronic ambient-based music. I usually use Ableton or Bitwig sometimes, and now I'm teaching myself VCV Rack because I'd like to get into modular synthesis. I was thinking today, instead of doing just a talking head video, that maybe I would try to make a simple patch while I'm talking. Okay, so how it's going so far? I think it's going good so far. I've gotten really good at making a basic subtractive synthesis patch. I figured out the sequencer. So yeah, if you watched my first video, I really struggled with the sequencer. So I've got that down now. And I have a better idea of how and why it is that triggers work the way they do. Like, coming from a world of plugins where there's a sound source and then it's run through an effect, it made sense to me that you would take an audio source and then put it into something that would then affect the sound. And at first I couldn't figure out why it was that wasn't working. But now I understand a lot better the basic structure, so I'm really happy about that. I think my biggest hurdle right now is trying to overcomplicate patches too quickly. Like, I fill up the whole screen with modules, and I end up sort of biting off more than I can chew. But it's still not what I'm hoping it will be in the end. I think simplifying is something that I'm going to need to learn how to do. And it also makes me crazy because I watch videos of people who have these minimal ambient setups with Hardware Euro Rack on YouTube, and they're making all these beautiful complex sounds, and I've got a screen full of modules, and there's 50 wires going here and there, and it's not making the same kind of rich sound. And so that's one thing I'm still really struggling with, that I've got to figure out. Oh, another thing I learned. Apparently, there's a color convention with the wires that I did not know about. I know they're not called wires, they're called cables, but here we are. Yeah, I was just grabbing cable colors at random, and I had no idea that there was a convention that people followed, and I got a comment on one of my videos that told me about the color convention, and so I Googled it, and yeah, I got this cable color key module, and now I can pull a cable and change the colors with my number pad, and yeah. I've also changed the color of my cable. So yeah, this is still blue, but I changed the blue. Still yellow, but I changed the yellow. And I came up with a couple extra colors. I found out you can do that. So I made this kind of mint color. Oh, wow. And that one, kind of purpley color. I think there's the pink and the purple are pretty similar. And I like to use that in the scope. Sometimes I use the purple one in my reset, so that, because there was just so many blue cables running around. And then that helps me know that those are the ones in the scope because they're not anywhere else. They're just dedicated for that. I've made a few generative ambient patches that I was happy with. I posted those ones. I've also made a lot of patches I wasn't happy with. I didn't post those ones. But if you want to see my journey so far with my patches, I've got a few videos up with those. I like this mixer actually because it has send and return, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it was pretty easy to figure out. I have downloaded so many modules that I thought I could just throw on and figure out, and I could not. That's actually been my biggest frustration so far, and I think one of the biggest mistakes I've made is I download modules and I try to use them in a rack right away without looking into it, without watching a video on that particular module. I think I'll just figure it out because, it's a distortion or it's this or that, and I can figure it out. But no, you can do that with plugins a little bit sometimes. They have presets. A lot of them are pretty intuitive, but I have not found that to be the case with Rack modules. So far, every time I try to do that, I end up having to go stop what I'm doing, watch a video, actually learn the module from scratch and practice with it. And then I can use it in a video, And then I can use it in a patch. And that kind of brings me to how I've been learning VCV Rack, which has been completely through YouTube. It's amazing how many videos there are on VCV Rack out there and also on Rack in general. I can't think of any of their channel names right now, but I'll put links to some of the channels I've been watching in the description that have been really helpful. That was an interesting one. Turn this down for a sec. It's quite loud. There was one video, and I've only seen one so far, where they mentioned the clock pass-through. Before that, I couldn't figure out why the trigger was just doing these really little blips, because it's just a trigger, it's not a gate. But that turns it into a gate. One thing I don't understand that maybe someone can help me with, I don't understand why it's still playing these pitches even though they're turned off. Like, it doesn't seem to mind at all. And I get it's not re-triggering, so maybe that's why, maybe there's no way around it. But the only thing I've been able to figure out is to turn them way up. Because now they're playing a really, really high pitch, and the low pass filter won't pick it up. That's the only hack I've been able to figure out, but if someone has a better idea, I'd love to hear it. The only downside with this mixer is that you can only do one send at a time, so it's either sending it to the reverb or the delay, which is kind of cool, like in a progression sense, because you could have it doing the delay and then switch over to the reverb. So it's kind of neat, but if you wanted to use both of them, I don't think you can. Yeah, and then in the middle it's off, which it's really well designed. It's just too bad you can't have both of them. I really want both. I'll do a mix so I can turn it down. I like that a lot better. No, you know what? I think I'm gonna, because this is the only sound I think I'm gonna use for this one, I think I am gonna just put it straight into the reverb instead of using the send, because it'll give it a more washy sound. And I'll use one of these that are more left and right there. Okay, it's really simple, but I think I'm going to call that done for today. And the fact that it's really simple brings me on to my next point, which is what I'm planning to do now to improve my skills. And the biggest thing I'm planning to do is going to be researching individual modules. The first one I want to do is Platts by Mutable Instruments on VCV Rack. I think it's called Macro Oscillator 2 or something by Audible Instruments. So I really want to deep dive that one and a few other modules just to get really familiar with them. And at the same time, I really want to study as much as I can about making ambient music in modular. I know that, there's so many people out there who could do so much more with the modules I have on my screen. And I'm hoping one day to be, one of those people. So that's my goal. I'm going to keep working on it, and I'm going to bring you along the journey. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.